Is Blackstone giving us a canary in the coal mine? Why are they exiting single-family real estate? Let's take a quick gander at this. We've been talking a lot about real estate investments this week on the National Real Estate Cafe, and this one is one of these that I think you're going to get a lot of fake news about, but it is something to pay attention to. Let's take a look at this. So on NBA Newslink, they got a story for us here, which I think is really interesting, written by Seth Wellsborn. And again, you could reach out to us, go to our YouTube channel, send us a quick note, and we will send you this article so that you could dig deep into this article. But I wanted you to look at the headline. It says, Blackstone Group leaves single-family rental business. So, what does that mean? Well, if you look at this really carefully, it says that they are going to sell they've made $7 billion in this investment in Invitation Homes when the rental business went public in 2017. This is single-family rentals. Single-family rentals have historically been horrible for institutional investors. They've never been able to manage it correctly. It's always been a pain, and they would much rather invest in commercial real estate. It's much easier for them to manage, much more predictable outcome, less fluctuations in valuation. So, we talked a few weeks ago about a cash crunch. We think there's a cash crunch going on in a lot of these companies. It doesn't mean that they're not wealthy. It doesn't mean that they don't have the ability to sustain themselves. It just means that their balance sheets look a little funny because they're holding so many assets. So if you're asking me what's happening here, I think Blackstone has made a lot of money on this transaction, $7 billion. That's plenty of money to make on the transaction. Maybe the upside in single family isn't really there for them anymore. And at some point, if you've made so much money, you've got to take your chips off the table. And they can reallocate these assets into something else that's a little more high yield. So when you're a company like Blackstone, maybe you could take it out of these homes that are making 3, 4, 5% across the nation, and they could take it out of that and put it into credit cards and try to get 14, 15, 16%. Or other investments that they feel like we've been talking about, maybe commercial investments, maybe multifamily. Maybe they see an opportunity in a different market that we don't. This does not mean that single-family homes are going to melt down. But I'm sure you're going to see somebody spin this article and say, that's it, that's the end for single-family. If Blackstone's getting out, you should too. Now, this is a cautionary tale. This is something we're going to keep our eye on. If this becomes a trend, maybe there could be an influence. But this doesn't mean that Invitation Homes is selling all their assets. This just means that Blackstone is selling Invitation Homes to somebody else. So as long as there's a buyer, doesn't mean the assets are being liquidated and inventories come into the market. So if you want to find out more, if you want to dig in deep, if you want to have a conversation, reach out to Don and I. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, send us a message. Let's get on the phone. Let's get on a Zoom call. Let's chat it out. Let's see if we can learn something from each other. So reach out to us at donandgino@gmail.com or text NREC to the number 58885.